So I've been seeing a lot of clips from Bryce's interview with Kenneth Copeland popping up in my FYP, and several of y'all have sent me this specific clip to look at and wanted to know my thoughts about it. So let's look at it together.
His disciples were astonished at his words. How hard it is for them that trust in riches to enter into the kingdom of God. Easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. And they were astonished out of measure, saying among themselves, who then can be saved? Now the word saved, sozo, includes healing. It means soundness. It includes healing, prosperity, saved. Saved from what? Poverty.
So this is a classic example of misusing the Greek word sozo, which means saved, but it's misusing it because it's dragging in unrelated meanings from other contexts and then forcing them into the passage. In biblical hermeneutics, this is what's called illegitimate totality transfer. It's taking the full semantic range of a word and then pretending every possible meaning applies in every instance. I mean, we don't even do this in our everyday language. If I told you I love hot wings, which I do, you know I'm not talking about that I'm in love with them, I have a romantic love for them. No, I'm saying I enjoy them. Context determines meaning. Now, sozo does have a broad range of usage in the New Testament, and that's why context is so important. Because sometimes it can mean saved from sin and judgment, sometimes it can talk about rescued or made whole, and other times it talks about healing or physical restoration. A really clear example of that is in Mark 5 with the healing of the bleeding woman, and Jesus says, your faith has sozo healed you. But in Mark 10, the context is crystal clear here. The disciples have just heard Jesus say it's humanly impossible for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God, and then Jesus uses the vivid imagery of a camel going through the eye of a needle. And the disciples, when hearing this, are shocked, and they ask, well, who then can be saved? And they're asking this because if a rich person can't enter the kingdom of God and be saved from sin and judgment, well, then who can? So when Jesus answers the disciples' question, he points to God's power, not financial deliverance. But Copeland here just pulls sozo completely out of context and claims that the verse is talking about healing, prosperity, and being saved from poverty, and that just completely twists the text. Jesus had just told the rich young ruler to go sell everything, give to the poor, and follow him. So inserting prosperity here just reverses the entire point. It's turning a serious warning passage about the danger of a love for riches into a promise that salvation includes wealth. I mean, Kenneth also adds just pure speculation here when he says this.
He offered him apostleship, and he couldn't take it.
The text doesn't say any of that. When Jesus calls people to follow him, it's the same call for everybody. This was not a secret job offer for the inner circle. And listen, you don't even need the Greek here to see that this kind of reading just doesn't work. I mean, if who can be saved can also mean, well, who can be prosperous or who can be saved from poverty, well, then that means the whole conversation with Jesus just falls apart. Because Jesus' answer, with man, it's impossible, but all things are possible with God, would then mean becoming wealthy is impossible with man, but possible with God. And that's just an absurd reading of the text and completely breaks the flow and contradicts the warning about trusting in riches. The heart of this passage is the problem of the heart, the danger of a love of money more than God. True discipleship costs everything, and only God's grace can enable us to surrender fully, whether we're rich or poor. Listen, what this whole thing boils down to is context, 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 and context is king. Words don't carry every possible meaning. They take on their meaning from the passage they're actually used in. And when you let the text speak on its own terms, it actually makes sense. But when you force meanings into it, you break it. We're not the ones who define the words the Bible uses. The passage does.